but being too woke to call out the obvious.
I'd like him to wipe the grin off his face when he's talking about it, too.
El Sayed.
Joe Scarborough, one of MSNBC's own hosts, just told Democrats something their base does not want to hear. Watch this.
I don't need people telling me, oh, you have to just turn a blind eye to people saying that women getting raped on October 7th didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. No, Americans aren't going to support that. This is not about me. This is about the Democrats, once again, fumbling the football on the 2-yard line when they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke, I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke to call out the obvious.
This is coming from inside the building, not from a Republican, from a host on the single most reliably Democratic-leaning network in the country. Scarborough's actual point is simple and devastating. Democrats keep losing winnable elections because they can't bring themselves to condemn the most extreme voices in their own coalition, even when those voices are excusing what happened to women on October 7th. He's not asking Democrats to become Republicans. He's asking them to do the bare minimum, say those victims matter. And he's framing their refusal to do that as a self-inflicted wound, not a Republican talking point. When Morning Joe is the one saying this, that tells you how far outside the mainstream this problem has actually gotten, and it's exactly the opening Trump and Republicans have been using to peel away moderate Democrats district by district. And Scarborough didn't stop at one example. Watch him lay out exactly what accountability should actually look like.
I swear to God, it's crazy that we're even having this conversation. If somebody says a woman being raped doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, it's okay to call that person out and demand that candidates distance themselves from those people. If you want to rule, over a party and win elections. If somebody says going to a rally the day after Hamas slaughters more Jews than any time since the Holocaust, it's okay for Chuck Schumer. It's okay for Hakeem Jeffries to call that despicable and demand that people distance themselves from that. That's okay.
Notice what Scarborough is actually asking for here. It's not radical, it's the floor. He's not demanding purges or loyalty tests. He's saying party leaders should be allowed to say two things out loud: that what happened to those women was wrong, and that celebrating a massacre the day after it happens is despicable. He's naming Schumer and Jeffries directly, the actual leaders of the party, and saying they have the standing and the obligation to draw that line publicly. The fact that this even needs to be said, that basic moral clarity has become controversial inside a major political party, is Scarborough's real point. And it's the kind of admission that usually only comes out when a party is genuinely losing control of its own message. So Scarborough connects this straight back to the last election Democrats should have won easily. And Jonathan Lemire picks up right where he left off.
So why are we bringing this up now? We're bringing this up now because it seems an awful lot like what was happening in 2024 when Democrats couldn't get out of their own way to win an election they should have won.
To extend your metaphor, the Democrats have the ball at the 2-yard line. Now they have to call the right play. And there are ways they could botch this. There's no question there. Getting at the ball at the 2 doesn't mean you're going to score. Seattle Seahawks about a decade ago in a Super Bowl is evidence of that. So this is where Democrats are, and that's why there is such scrutiny. It is understandable why there's such energy on the left, and we've just gone through all the reasons why. There's a lot of energy there. People are tired. People are sick. People think these fundamental issues need to be addressed.
This is the part that should actually worry Democratic strategists. Scarborough is drawing a direct line from an election Democrats already lost to a pattern that's still happening now, meaning nothing changed after 2024. The same instinct to protect the extreme fringe over confronting it is still in place. And Lemire, not exactly a conservative voice either, adds the sports metaphor that makes it land. Having a huge advantage doesn't guarantee you win. You can still throw the game away with the wrong call at the worst possible moment. Two MSNBC personalities on air telling their own audience that Democrats are one bad decision away from blowing another race they should win easily. That's not spin. That's two insiders watching the same mistake happen twice. And within days of that warning airing, a real Democrat did exactly what Scarborough said needed to happen. And it happened live, on camera.
Some things transcend party loyalty, and I'm just surprised that there's not more people who won't stand up to this guy or this kind of candidate. I was 78 miles in high school in class 25 years ago on September 11th, and I signed a petition for Change.org saying Mamdani should stay out of New York City on 9/11. I think this guy, El Sayed, should fly to New York City and look every family member of somebody who jumped out of a window because the alternative was worse. I think he should look them in the eye and tell them that there's no justification for what happened, for showing up at their office or boarding an airplane that day. They didn't do anything wrong. I think he should do that. I think he should take this seriously. And I'd like him to wipe the grin off his face when he's talking about it, too.
El Sayed.
This is Michael LaRosa, Jill Biden's own former press secretary, a career Democratic operative who's worked for Gillibrand, Cantwell, and Pelosi, not a fringe figure, not a Republican plant. He just publicly endorsed Mike Rogers, the Republican, over Abdul El Sayed, specifically because El Sayed still won't fully cut ties with Hassan Piker over Piker's comments calling 9/11 deserved. LaRosa isn't being abstract about it either. He brings up his best friend's mother, who died jumping from the World Trade Center, and says directly that El Sayed should have to look victims' families in the eye. This is exactly the scenario Scarborough described 3 clips ago, a Democrat refusing to look away, drawing the line publicly at real career risk, because the alternative was staying silent. And it's worth saying plainly, Trump personally endorsed Rogers months ago, betting that Michigan Democrats, disgusted with their own party's leftward lurch, would have exactly nowhere else credible to go. LaRosa proves that bet is paying off in real time. A lifelong Democratic insider doing the party's own dirty work of self-correction for them and handing Trump's candidate the exact validation his campaign wanted.